A little over a week ago, as of this video's posting in late August 2023, Human Rights Watch released a bombshell report leveling charges at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for major atrocities and potentially crimes against humanity. Saudi border guards have killed at least hundreds of Ethiopian migrants and asylum seekers who tried to cross the Yemen-Saudi border between March 2022 and June 2023. Human Rights Watch research indicates that, at time of writing, the killings are continuing. I read the roughly 80-page report, along with some other material, so that you don't have to. So let's get right into it. The story begins in Ethiopia, where, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency, there is an unfolding humanitarian emergency. Several regions of Ethiopia are affected by conflict and violent unrest as a result of political and ethnic tensions. In addition, the country is impacted by a range of natural disasters, including droughts, flooding, and locust infestation. As a result of these conditions, according to Human Rights Watch, or HRW, hundreds of thousands have fled the country over the last 10 years or so. With a high demand for migrant workers, Saudi Arabia is a desirable destination for many tens of thousands of Ethiopians who make the grueling journey known as the Eastern or Yemeni route. The migrants first enter Djibouti, then cross the Gulf of Aden to Yemen, often in overcrowded and dangerous sea vessels. They then travel all the way up to the northern border with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, or KSA. It is estimated that well over 90% of the migrants on this route are Ethiopian. Human Rights Watch spoke with 38 Ethiopians who had made the attempt at crossing this border between March 2022 and June 2023. The details of this report are extremely violent and can be hard to hear, but I will make an attempt at using vivid detail. All of the interviewees were given pseudonyms in order to protect their identities. Already before crossing the border, migrants often suffer abuse. Yemain, who fled northern Ethiopia as a result of the Tigray War, was unlucky enough to be kidnapped by the very smugglers who promised to bring him to KSA. In Ethiopia, when you communicate with the smuggler, they give you a code, and in Yemen, you give the code over to the Yemeni smuggler. There was a house, and I was put inside it. There was torture in that house. They started to beat me. I left after 4 days. Smugglers bring migrants to camps separated by ethnicity, which the interviewees say each contain tens of thousands of people. From this base camp, men, women, and children make crossing attempts in groups of up to 200 people. Some trek for hours or even days through mountainous terrain to approach the border, which is straddled by fences, dotted by Saudi guard posts, and patrolled by trucks. Cameras on posts also track their movements. And this is where the bloodbath begins. In December 2022, a group of 200 migrants stepped over the line and walked into Saudi Arabia from Yemen. Dahabo, a 20-year-old woman from Oromia, was one of them. Immediately after we arrived, they fired on us. A lot of people were dying. In a group of 200 migrants, only 50 people survived. It wasn't a bullet they were shooting. It was thrown from the back of a car, like a bomb. It kills a lot of people. They fired on a lot of people. A month earlier, in November, Iftu was also part of a group that attempted to cross. We walked 5 days because we were trying to hide from the police border guards. We were changing our way to avoid them. There was firing from the border guards. They were firing big rocket launchers at us. It was like a bomb. From the 250 people in the group, 150 died. There were 70 or 80 people who were severely injured and scattered all over the mountain. Iftu explained how she was able to approximate the number of dead migrants from her group. She explained that after the firing from the explosive weapons ended, Saudi border guards came to her and showed me the dead. After they captured us, they took us to the top of the mountain to show how they were killing people. Iftu was taken to a detention center afterward for 6 weeks, and she was one of the lucky ones. In October 2022, 20-year-old Hadia would cross in a large group as well. This would be her last attempt. I was with 170 people. Most of them were women, and there were kids also. The Saudi border guards were firing at us from the back of a car. I saw them throwing something from a car. When they fired at us, people lost their hands and legs, and we couldn't help them because we had to help ourselves. I saw people killed with my own eyes. I saw 20 people dead while I was walking. 14-year-old Hamdia, who crossed the border in a group of 60 in February 2023, tells a similar story. I saw 30 killed people on the spot. 25-year-old Desta left Ethiopia due to extreme poverty. He would try to cross 3 times into KSA. January 2023 would be his final attempt. Border guards on the south border guard post saw us and fired on us where we were resting. We started to run. We were crawling on our hands, and a lot of people died, and some escaped. We had to go down the mountain, and then that's where there is a Saudi farmland. Unfortunately, when we got to the farmland, a Saudi tank was standing there. The tank started to fire on us and killed a lot of people. Most were not killed on the spot. Most were wounded. People were injured and waiting for help, but no one came to help them. Only 15 people survived. Desta told HRW that he was traveling in a group of 200 people. 25-year-old Bilal from West Hararghe crossed in February 2023. They, meaning the Saudi border guards, were firing big things like a mortar. They fired it from the back of a car. We lost 130 people that day. The majority were women, and there were children there too. In what Human Rights Watch calls a particularly chilling incident, Saudi forces fired explosives at a group of migrants that they had just released at the border. Present at the time was 20-year-old Munira. They fired on us like rain. When I remember, I cry. I saw a guy calling for help. He lost both his legs. He was screaming. He was saying, "Are you leaving me here? Please don't leave me." We couldn't help him because we were running for our lives. There are several people who lost their body parts. Saeed, a 25-year-old man from Amhara, attempted to cross in March 2023 and was injured by explosive weapons fired at his group. When we started walking, the border guards fired on us and killed 40 people. I saw these people die. I don't want to think about that too much. All of my friend's stomach came out, and the other one lost both her legs. I couldn't bury more people because the firing was still coming. Evidently from the testimony of the victims, rather than mowing down the Ethiopian migrants with machine gun or small arms fire, it is clear that the Saudis are simply blowing them up by firing ordnance at them. This clearly accounts for a large share of the deaths, though there are deaths from small arms fire as well. Human Rights Watch has documented regular, frequent attacks by Saudi border guards using explosive weapons, often followed by border guards approaching survivors and firing with firearms at close range. In one of the most appalling cases, Jahur, a 17-year-old boy, describes what happened to him after he was captured by Saudi forces following his group being blown up. When the firing stopped, they took us. In my group, there were 7 people, 5 men and 2 girls. The border guards made us remove our clothes and told us to the girls. The girls were 15 years old. One of the men refused. They killed him on the spot. I participated in the... Yes, to survive, I did it. The girls both survived because they didn't refuse. This happened at the same spot where the killings took place. In October 2022, UN officials, including the Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial, Summary or Arbitrary Executions, drafted a letter to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We would like to bring to the attention of Your Excellency's government information we have received concerning allegations of cross-border artillery shelling and small arms fire allegedly by Saudi security forces causing the deaths of up to 430 and injuring 650 migrants, including refugees and asylum seekers, in Saada Governorate, Yemen, and Jazan Province, Saudi Arabia, between January 1st and April 30th, 2022. Those killed instantly are reportedly either left or, if it is safe to do so, buried by other migrants on site. A clandestine cemetery reportedly located at Al-Khals would contain up to 10,000 bodies of migrants allegedly killed in Araku. Human Rights Watch say they are not able to give a specific number of migrants killed, but warn that the number is substantial. HRW interviewed Jamel, a 40-year-old man from the Amhara region who had lived in Yemen for 19 years. In January 2023, Jamel traveled to Sada to retrieve the body of his friend who had been killed while attempting to cross the border. Upon visiting the Al-Jamuri Hospital morgue, Jamel noticed that most of the bodies were Ethiopians. I cannot say how many numbers of dead there were, but many. The bodies were piled upon each other. Jamel sent Human Rights Watch a video showing the entrance to a container containing a pile of dead bodies at least 4 corpses high. Aside from interviews, Human Rights Watch obtained more than 350 videos and photos posted to social media and other sources, and several hundred square kilometers of satellite imagery. The satellite imagery contained images of grave sites, which are growing in size. In February 2022, HRW identified 183 graves at 4 sites near the Al-Raku migrant camp. By June 2023, that number ballooned to 287 graves. Human Rights Watch interviewed 23 people who traveled in large groups to cross the border. In all, these groups comprised an estimated 3,442 people. 10 interviewees estimated that from 11 attempted crossings with a total of 1,278 migrants, they had seen killed or estimated at least 655 deaths. For 9 additional attempted large group crossings involving an estimated 1,630 people, interviewees recounted that 281 people had survived. This means Saudi border guards have killed hundreds, possibly thousands, of Ethiopian migrants and asylum seekers. The 2022 UN letter to Saudi Arabia noted that migrants have been disproportionately affected by what appears to be direct targeting by Saudi security forces. The latter are believed to be pursuing a policy of excessive use of firearmed force to stop and deter migrants from crossing the Saudi-Yemeni border. In Human Rights Watch's opinion, if committed as part of a Saudi government policy to murder migrants, these killings would be a crime against humanity. In their recommendations to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Human Rights Watch suggested that they stop killing migrants. To quote, concerned governments publicly call for Saudi Arabia to stop killing migrants, but also suspend any transfers of arms and other military equipment to Saudi Arabia, including arms, training, and maintenance agreements with Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Interior. Suspend any ongoing military training and cooperation with the Saudi Ministry of Interior and/or Saudi border guards. Investigate origins of arms and equipment used by Saudi border guards in attacks against migrants on the border with Yemen. They also note that in 2017, the New York Times reported that American special forces were training Saudi troops along the border with Yemen. A half-dozen officials from the United States military, the Trump administration, and European and Arab nations said the American commandos are training Saudi ground troops to secure their border, officially to defend Saudi Arabia from Houthi missile attacks. We are authorized to help the Saudis defend their border. We're doing that through intelligence sharing, through logistics support, and through military advice that we provide to them. For many years, Saudi Arabia has been one of the world's largest arms importers. Concerned governments should suspend any transfers of arms and other military equipment to Saudi Arabia, including arms and training. Saudi Arabia has denied the allegations. I need your help. This channel relies on donations and patrons. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to support me and what I do, please consider becoming a patron. There are exclusive videos there. I accept donations through PayPal, Cash App. I also accept cryptocurrency. I accept Bitcoin and Ethereum donations. So please, if you want to support me, become a patron, give a donation. Those are ways that you can support me. And of course, most importantly of all, please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much. Take care. I love you so much.